Hello again and welcome back. I've received a small suggestion from my email that I should make a Discord server for suggestions and etc. So I decided to make that, and the invite link should be on the description. And I will be busy next month though, so you can expect a small, slow progress of making origins and posting it on the channel. So let's begin with this new origin. As an acolyte, you are the reason why portals have been appearing in the overworld, and as such, you will spawn in a ruined one. Let's talk about your first two core ability. As a acolyte, you master the dark mystical arts, and pressing your primary key causes you to cycle up to your ability list. If you have at least a different ability active, you are unable to break blocks, and you deal no damage, both melee and projectile. But if you go back to your free hand, which should be the white one, you are able to resume your normal activities. Now for your second core ability is Soul Fragment. Killing an entity gives you a fragment of their soul, so let me just approach this two gossiping villagers here. Oops. There we go. Now let's talk about how your abilities interact with certain conditions. Now if you can see those two circles on the middle part right there, the white one, if we cycle up, you can actually see some part of those circles are red. All of those indicates that the ability is unable to cause unless certain requirements are met. So let's start with the Soulgrass. The Soulgrass allows you, when left clicking, allows you to siphon a soul from the direction you are looking from if it hits an entity. This will slowly recover your soul fragment. So let me just siphon one here. There we go. Now we reach a certain threshold for the soul grass for the right click one. Each of the circle represents the mouse click, so properly keep that in mind. Now for this ability though, when your Soulgrass is activated, you naturally regain regeneration 2, allowing you to survive further along in combat. And your right click allows you to heal yourself on the spot. But this causes a soul fragment. So the next ability we're going to talk about is Soul Burst. This ability is a little bit experimental, so you might find some clunkiness on the way how this ability interacts. Now, Soul Burst ability will be activated on the left click. Yes, a left click if at least one soul fragment is available, and 25 soul fragments will activate the right click ability. So let's fill this one up. Now, if you hold left click, press and hold, this will cause you to conjure up a portal. Now this does nothing on its own if you're just gonna cast it out of the fly. But what it can do is, it can destroy every projectile that it hits, and if it hits a trident, it will yeet it into the sky. So this will destroy everything here. And the interesting part about this ability is that you can hold the left click, and if you press right click, you will throw the portal in a direction you are facing, destroying every projectile that comes its way. So let's see that arrow right there. Hold your left click and press right click, and there we go. Now this projectile is a little bit clunky because I did just kind of eyeball the coding on this one. So this is a mid-range spellcasting ability, and it's a little bit harder to aim considering it appears above you and slightly farther away from you. So it always flies above the entity that you're trying to hit, so I would suggest to hit a little bit lower. Oh, there we go. It passed through them. Oh yeah, one more thing. As you can see right here, it has a gap where it doesn't become a projectile until it turns into that blob of ball. So other entities that might actually be really close to you will be able to actually dodge the projectile. Now this origin is a mid-range to long-range character in terms of its proper combat with using its abilities. Now let's talk about your long-range ability, the Inferno Barrage. This will get activated when your soul fragment reaches 150. Both of them cast the same thing, but they act differently depending on how you want it to be. So if we press our left click, this will cause a barrage in the area. So let's just wait for the cooldown there for a little bit. I should fill this up one. Now that one is for a mid-range combat, but if you prefer a long-range strike from, well, targeting your enemy, you can do the right-click ability, and this will play with a longer one. This origin only has 2 negatives, considering how the rest of its ability interact, requiring soul fragments and thus requiring other entities to actually use to its full potential. So let's start with your first negative. As an Acolyte, you've actually fused with demons themselves, so this makes you take damage on a jungle territory water. And parrots, ocelots, and cats will actually give you a glowing effect. For your second negative is that wearing armor that is heavier than chainmail will actually give you a slowing effect. Whoops. Yep, it will actually give you weakness 5, mining fatigue, and slowness 3 altogether. So let's just do this one. And that is all for the Acolyte origin. And before we go, one more thing. I will be posting this data pack on the Discord server. And this origin is based around, well, the spells are based around directional. So if you aim too high, that will happen. And if you aim too low, it will just explode instantly. Oh, and one more thing. If you happen to like this one, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the future one.